Okay, so let's start with the new scene, and first of all, of course, let's just delete all, so we don't have anything in our way. First of all, I want you to set up some reference image. Yeah, when it comes to photo reference, I use it a lot, and not only on the second screen or to check some details, but I use it in Blender. And I'm not talking only about the blueprints where you actually have like a technical reference for a car or an airplane or something, but really any photo at all. Sometimes when I need to get something to scale, I just import the image right into Blender and model something around that. So yeah, that's very useful, and that's the technique I want to use right now, because this particular scene is a little bit more complex and I really wanted to have a perfect result in the end. And of course you can do anything you want with the layout, but in case you really want to achieve the same result on your first run with this episode, I strongly recommend to use this reference image. And I made a little render from the top view that you can use. So first of all, we need to switch to the top view, and you already know that's a numpad 7, but I want to show you a quick trick how to switch the orthographic views, and that's a key on a keyboard next to the number 1 under the escape key. It should be on the top left part of your keyboard, and I think it's called the tilde key. So if you press that, you can choose the view you want. But there's even a quicker way how to do this, and if you hold the Alt key and drag with the middle mouse button, for example, I can drag down, you will see I switch to the top orthographic. If I rotate left, I switch to the right orthographic. So this way you can navigate through a scene. You can see how this rotates right here, and it's by holding Alt key and dragging with the middle mouse button. So that's very useful, but I use the numpad quite a lot because I got used to that. Yeah, I will maybe switch between these, and it basically comes down to what feels most comfortable to you. So I just wanted you to know about all these options. Now that we're a little bit more deeper into the Blender, let's add that reference image. So I will go to the top view and press Shift A, and here under this menu you can see there's an image option, and you can choose the reference. So let's click that, and here you can navigate to your images, and there should be a reference folder in the project files. And here you can change the display mode so you actually see the images. And I've created two versions of that. First one is made in Eevee, so it's a real representation of the scene. And the next one is rendered with Workbench. It's rendered with X, Y, and Z color that you can see in the normal maps. And I think this will serve better as a reference point since the details are better visible there. So let's use this one. The next thing I want you to do is to scale this up. And as you know, I got used to do these dioramas 8x8, and I keep that consistent mainly because it's easier than to interchange objects between the scenes. So I want to keep that here. So let's maybe scale this up. So not the image is 8x8, but the content inside, so maybe a little bit more. We can adjust that later because I want to show you the options for this reference image. And if you go here on the right on the object data, you can see various options for the image, and you can check the checkbox here which says use alpha. And if you then modify the transparency value, you can make it transparent, obviously. So yeah, maybe let's bring this down to 0.5 and we'll see how that works. And there's one more thing, because right now if you rotate the scene, the reference image is there, and that's quite a bit of change from the previous versions of Blender, where now the reference images are placed in the scene like any other object, and you can manipulate them, rotate them, move them around. So I think it's a very good approach, but it needs a little bit more of a setup on your side from the start. And the first thing I want to check here is I want to uncheck display perspective, because I don't want to see it right here. I only want to see it when I go into the top view or any other orthographic view for the matter. And here I want to check the visible side, because I don't want it to be visible from the top and the bottom as well. So if you check front, the bottom disappears, and right now this reference image is only visible from the top view. And since we already seen the grid better when it's transparent, we can scale it a little bit more. So you can see we are right here -4 on the X, and here we are 4 on the X. So I think this placement looks really good, and we can leave it like that. But one last thing I want to do is to enable these filters here that you know already from the previous episodes, and I want to enable interaction and rendering options. And for this particular reference image, I want to disable interactivity, so we don't actually move it or select it in any way. So yeah, this is how you set up reference images, and it's similar for any other view. So basically, if you would have a side view, you can just go to the side view and add your reference image here. And we will actually do that when we'll be modeling car. So bear with me on this one, and let's move on.